Hi guys, thanks for taking a few moments to check this out. This past week in Kids Church we talked about Mephibosheth. Now, it's a funny sounding name, I realize that, but it's also very applicable for today. As you may or may not know, October is National Bullying Awareness Month. And the purpose of this is to try and help parents, students, teachers, everybody more aware of bullying and just how prevalent it is and how destructive it can be. Just this past, I guess it was about 2 weeks ago now, I have a friend of mine whose niece committed suicide because she was bullied. The people that picked on her had no idea what her life history was, had no idea how hard of a time she had growing up, and some of the really nasty, ugly things that she had fought through and gotten victory over at a very young age. When she became a teenager and some other students weren't aware of what this young lady had been through, the teasing took on a whole nother level. It went to a whole nother level with how it impacted her psychologically, emotionally, and unfortunately, she chose to take her life as a result. That was the only way that she saw out. It's tragic. And unfortunately, it is not all that uncommon. There are quite a few young people who have decided to take their own life rather than continue to face the bullying and the abuse, because really that's what bullying is. It's abuse. Unfortunately, we can't change the world. If you shared this video with everybody on Facebook, it still wouldn't change the world. But Facebook is big, but not everybody has it. Not everybody would listen. So please understand, when we talked about bullying Sunday, it's not that we expect to change the world. But I'm reminded of the illustration of the little boy walking along the seashore. And as he's walking along, he is picking up starfish that have washed up on the beach. And he would pick them up and he would throw them back into the ocean. And he had walked several hundred yards doing this, and he had returned several starfish back to the ocean. And there was an older man on the beach. He saw what the young man had been doing. When the young man got closer, the old man said, "Son, why are you doing that? You'll never save all of those starfish. You won't make a difference." The young boy picked up the starfish. He threw another one in. He said, "Well, it made a difference to that one." And that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to make a difference one young person at a time, one family at a time. In the story of Mephibosheth, which if you're looking for it in your Bibles, you can turn to 2 Samuel chapter 9. With the story of Mephibosheth, David has finally come to power. King David is finally on his throne. He is no longer hiding from Saul. He has won enough battles that he has consolidated his power, and he comes to sit on the throne. And he asks around, he says, "Hey, is there anybody left from Saul's family?" And the only person left from Saul's family was Saul's grandson, Mephibosheth, who was Jonathan's son. Now, King Saul and David were not best of friends. King Saul tried to kill David. He was a bully. Jonathan, however, was David's best buddy. Mephibosheth would have been very easy for David to remember how Saul had treated him, trying to kill him, driving him away. And that's the thing. Saul would say time and again, he'd make a promise, "Okay, sorry about that, David. I'll do better this time." And then a month or two later, Saul was back to his old games of trying to wipe David out. So David has finally come to a place of power. And the only remaining descendant of Saul's family is Mephibosheth. David has his attendants bring Mephibosheth to him. And I'm sure that Mephibosheth, it's a fun word to say, but it's also kind of difficult. I'm sure that when Mephibosheth got there, he had no idea what to expect. He bows down before the king, and Mephibosheth, at this point, the Bible tells us that Mephibosheth is a cripple. His legs have been broken. And remember, back in biblical days, there were no handicap access, there were no wheelchairs, there was not really a way for Mephibosheth to get around. He was at the mercy of just about everyone. And he was certainly at the mercy of a king, a brand new king. And what does David do? David is not a bully. Despite the fact that David had been bullied, David took this opportunity to do the right thing, even though he didn't have to. David showed kindness to Mephibosheth. The Bible tells us that Mephibosheth was given all of Saul's land by David. David became generous, not vindictive. Bullying is unfortunate, and it takes place. But parents, talk to your children. Talk to your young people about the fact that just because somebody is a little different, or just because you could take advantage of somebody, you don't have to. If somebody has bullied you and then they have a younger brother or sister, you don't bully them to get back. Two wrongs don't make a right. And while we can't stop bullying forever, hopefully with Starfish, what we can do is make a difference to that one. And eventually, we'll make a difference to a lot. Thanks for taking the time. If you have a question, a comment, as always, please feel free, leave a comment here on this page underneath the video, or contact me here at the church. Next month, we are going to be starting a brand new series on, well, it is on treasure hunting. You'll have to tune in again to find out what I mean by that. Thanks. God bless.